Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is NAKIE and this is Cook with NAKIE. Hope everybody is doing well. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. On today's menu, we are making a quick one. This is an easy village style kontomire stew. Let's get started. For our ingredients, we're going to be using our spinach. Yes, if you're back home, yes, you could use the kontomire, but since we can't get that here, we're using the spinach and it works perfectly for this. And I'm using the fresh one. You could use the frozen one, but since I'm making like a typical village style kontomire, I'm going the traditional way, getting the fresh one. I have my palm oil, the zomi, and this is my blended tomatoes, peppers, and onion. And as always, I always crush them. I don't blend it to the smooth kind when I'm making stews like this, but you could blend it to the smooth texture if you prefer. I also have my dried herrings right there. I have my one sliced onions and my shrimp tablets. You could use any seasoning of your choice. I have my salted tilapia, that's my Kobe, my big mackerel, and my momone, that's like salted fish or cured fish. I'm going to start by boiling my spinach. Spinach that didn't take long to cook. Between 5 to 7 minutes it should be done. So since I'm making like the typical village style kontomire stew, that's why I'm boiling it. But if you're making like the regular kontomire stew with the goosey or the eggs, I don't think you need to boil it. But I'm making the traditional typical village style stew, and this was so good. It was easy, but it was so good. So in an empty pot, I'm gonna start making the stew, and this is my zomi red oil. You could use the regular vegetable oil, but this recipe calls for the red oil. So try this, and I know you're gonna love it. But if you don't like the red oil, you could still go ahead and use your regular vegetable oil, and it's still gonna come out good. So as you can see, I've started frying my Kobe, that's my salted tilapia. This is to infuse some flavor into the red oil and also to make it a little bit crispy. And I also fried this for about 3 minutes under medium heat. So it all depends on the heat you're using to fry. It could be more if you're using low heat. So my tilapia is done now. I'm taking out from the oil. I'm going to be now adding my momone, that's my cured fish, and this is going to be adding extra flavor. Yes, extra flavor to the oil and the stew. So guys, since we're making typical village style kontomire stew, momone has to represent and Kobe has to represent. That's exactly what we are doing today. It's a simple recipe, but trust me, it tastes really good. I just added my sliced onions to it. This is going to be frying for about 2 minutes. So my onions are ready. I just added my blended tomatoes, onions, and pepper to it. I gave this a stir, and I'm gonna cover this and let this cook till most of the moisture is out. So my spinach is ready. It cooked for about 5 to 7 minutes. That's it. That's all you need. It doesn't take long for your spinach to be ready. So I drained the water from the spinach, and one thing about spinach, you could have a whole bag of spinach, but after cooking it, it becomes really small. So I'm gonna be using my asanka and my tapoli, my earthenware bowl, to mash this up. So you could use your blender for this part, but yeah, since I'm making like the typical village style kontomire stew, I would prefer using the grinder, and the asanka, it just adds some flavor to it. I just don't know, but I just like when I mash it up in the asanka. So my stew has been cooking for about 15 to 20 minutes, and most of the moisture is out, and that's exactly how I wanted it. So I just added my dried herrings to it. And this is my big mackerel. I took the skin out, and I'm using my hand just to break it up into pieces. And I'm going to be adding that to the stew. You could put it whole in the stew if you prefer, but I just love the pieces in the stew. Also, while I break them into pieces, I try to take all the bones out from it as well. This village style stew doesn't cost for a lot of ingredients. All you need is the basic ingredients, because back in the days they don't stress themselves out with all these ingredients. All they need is just simple few ingredients and they're good, and their stew tastes really good. So that's exactly what we are doing too. You don't have to use the mackerel if you don't have it. Probably just your Kobe or dried herrings or anything, any fish of your choice, guys. I just added my baked mackerel pieces into the stew. I'm going to give this a stir, and I'm going to let this cook a little bit on the low heat for extra 5 minutes, and I'll be adding my kontomire to it very soon. Did I say kontomire, guys? I'm sorry, I meant my spinach. But it's still kontomire anyway. We still say kontomire here, even though we always use the spinach. Yeah, so I'm going to be adding my spinach to it very soon. I'm adding my 1 shrimp tablet. Remember, you could use any seasoning of your choice, or you could omit it if you don't want it. This is optional. Make sure you give your stew a stir if you use any type of seasoning to make sure everything is well seasoned in the stew. I'm now adding my Kobe. Yes, I think I forgot my Kobe. No, I did not. I can't do this stew without my Kobe. So I added the Kobe at this point because I wanted to have some taste of that stew. Yeah, and because I fried it to really like crispy, so I wanted to soften up a little bit in the stew. So on the low heat, the stew had been cooking for additional 3 minutes, and I think my stew is now done. You could still have this stew like that without your kontomire if you prefer it, and it tastes really good. But since we're making the spinach stew or kontomire stew, I'm going to be adding that at this point. If you want to make this type of recipe with the spinach, you might want to buy a lot if you want to cook a lot of stew. This was 2 big bags of spinach, and this is what I got. Yes. So if you want to make more, make sure you buy more spinach because it's still going to reduce in the quantity, okay? So I'm giving this a stir to make sure the stew and the spinach is well mixed together. I'm adding a little bit of salt. Yeah, I didn't add salt, so I like to add my salt at the end as always. So after adding my salt, I let this cook for additional just 2 minutes because I just want some oil on the top, and usually when you cover it a little bit, all your oil comes on top again. So after that, I'm done with my stew, and this is exactly what we're talking about. Our kontomire stew is ready, guys. Look at this simple recipe. Our village style kontomire stew is done. No egusi, no eggs. It was a simple recipe and it was so good, guys. I had this with some cassava and some plantains, and guys, it was so good. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something new. I hope you're gonna give this recipe a try, and I know you're gonna love it. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Like, share, and comment. Until I come your way next time, this is Cook with NAKIE. Be good to yourself, be good to everybody. It goes a long way.